For the purposes of high yields and disease-resistant planting materials in the area of cassava farming, this week on the Ghanaian Farmer, we are going to teach farmers a treated cassava stem that is specially produced by Isoda Agri Village CEO Nana. And Nana is going to take us through and enlighten us about these different stems. How do you come by it, the distance in planting, the treating, the nursery, and every other thing that there is to know when it comes to cassava farming. I know there are some videos about cassava farming on our channel, but in recent times it's become very difficult to come by the stem. A lot of farmers are looking for cassava stem to plant. A lot of them complain about low yield, and a lot of them complain about diseases. So he has come up with a novel way of planting cassava stem that will not give you any trouble but a good result. My name is Anyunam and this is the Ghanaian Farmer. We're coming to you all the way from Kede in the Eastern region. Get interactive. Let's hear from you wherever it is you're watching us from on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook and YouTube, the Ghanaian Farmer. I'm going for a quick breather. When I come back, Nana will tell me more about this innovative planting material that he is producing and supplying other local farmers here in Ghana. I'll be right back after this. Stay tuned. Thanks for staying. And my name is Zenyinam. This is the Ghanaian Farmer on Joy Prime. This week our focus is on cassava farming. This new treated cassava stem for all farmers out there. Nana, thanks for joining me once again.
Okay, welcome.
Right, so I know cassava is cassava. But visiting your farm, you have introduced us to this new treated cassava planting material or the stem. Now, what is different from what we have, the local one we have, versus this one?
Okay, thank you for allowing me once again. We call this form of innovation mini sets.
Okay.
Or Isoda mini sets.
Right.
Because we implemented it. So what we do is, the purpose of this mini set is to increase yield.
Okay.
Also to increase planting materials and then to produce resistant varieties for farmers.
Okay.
So with this mini set that you're seeing here, instead of we using the local way of planting or cutting, stem cutting, we call it cut and plant. Cutting and then planting it back without any treatment. In our normal way, if you wound a plant, you have to treat it before even planting. But you can see in our local way of planting cassava, just after wounding, we put it back into the soil. So if it happens that way, it's been affected by a lot of diseases in the soil. Okay. And also the reason why we use the mini set is that, if you plant cassava with a normal or local way, it will be having a lot of nose on the stick. Yes. Now, the more the nose, the more the number of period it will take. Okay. The more the notes on the stem, the longer it takes. The period it will take. Okay. Yes. So we, for example, if let's say you are using this particular stem, it will take less than let's say 6 weeks. Then the roots, the tubers will start forming. Just 6 weeks. The tubers will start forming. Okay. But if you compare the local one, every node or each node will take about 7 days to die off. Okay. Nana, how many varieties of cassava stems or cassava plant do we have? All right, we have a lot of cassava plant depending on the area. Okay, in this area, let's use Kede for example. Kede, we have targeted or we are using 3 main varieties. Which are? We have the Esiem Banchi, okay, Sika Banchi, and then Broni Banchi. Okay, is that the long or the short one? Okay, mostly. A lot of people call the Esiem Banchi industrial cassava. Okay. It's industrial because a lot of people use it for cassava, let me say, gari production. Okay. It can also be used for fufu production. So those who are into fufu processing, like neat fufu and stuff, they use the industrial cassava. The powder fufu. The powder fufu. Okay. So we mainly, some people don't know the differences. Yeah. So when someone calls the worker, I want cassava, we explain to the person, do you want, or what the type of, let's say, market you want. What are you going to use it for? Is it for gari, cassava dough, or fufu? Yes. Then you tell them which variety. Yes.
So in this KDA environs, is it the tall one or the short one
It's
you
the
plant?
short one.
You plant the short
Yes.
one. Okay.
But when you go to Sunyani and its environs, they plant the long ones.
Okay.
And that one, that's why I said the longer the stem, the longer
It will take to
will
mature.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So here, with what the treated one you have here,
Yeah.
is it the short one or is the long one?
It's the short one.
It's
All
the short
varieties,
one.
all the 3 varieties are short.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's the short one.
Yes, please.
Okay. So when it's come to one stem, one long stem,
Yeah.
how many pieces do you cut it into?
Okay, it depends on the, let me say, how long the stem is.
Okay.
But
What is the average stem of a short cassava tree or plant?
oh, okay, let me say, a stem can give you like 15 nose.
15 notes.
15 nose.
Okay.
Let's say the shorter one can give you like 15 nose.
Okay.
So the nose is the, let me say, where the leaves.
The dots
uh,
will
the-
germinate leaves.
Yes.
Okay.
So each note can give you a planting material. Each note gives you a planting material because each note has 2 sections.
Okay.
You have the rooting section and the leafy section. So it's based on you, the one cutting. You have to ensure that you get all the regions needed for production.
Okay.
So if you look at this one, we have about 4 nodes on this.
Yes.
So this one will delay a bit.
Okay.
So if you want to, if let's say we want to treat it, we have to still cut this one again.
Into 2?
Yes.
Or 1?
2.
2.
Yes. So that
Okay.
we have 2 nodes on each
Okay.
stem.
Okay.
Yeah. So just after 7 days, you see that it will start sprouting.
Okay.
So in the next 6 weeks, you see that the tubers will start forming because there is no other node that is going to die before the tuber root will start forming.
Okay. All right. What kind of soil is good for planting this variety of cassava stem?
Okay. You know, mostly before you start with cassava can be grown anywhere.
Okay.
But sandy loam is good for cassava production.
Okay.
I said sandy loam because you know it should be a water holding soil
Area. Okay.
And even before you go into cassava, you know the reason why most of we Ghanaians fail in cassava production, people thought cassava doesn't need much nutrient.
Okay.
That's why most of the farmers doesn't apply any form of fertilizer
Okay.
to cassava. But before you go into cassava production, you have to do a soil test
Hmm.
to know the quantity of let me say the
pH in the soil.
pH level.
Mm.
You know the moisture content for you to know also know the fertility content.
Okay.
So with that, we prepare our own fertilizer.
Your own fertilizer
Yes, we
for
prepare
planting this
yeah, by using
stem.
human urine.
Okay.
We use our own urine.
Huh?
For the fertilizer. Yes. Sure.
You use it to prepare fertilizer.
Yes, urea.
Okay.
So before we plant our stems, just after wounding,
Okay.
we treat it with wood ash.
That is after cutting.
After
You use
cutting,
wood ash.
Wood ash. Our
From the
normal-
carpenters.
Not wood ash. We don't get wood ash from carpenters.
But what?
From our kinky sellers. After
Ah.
setting the fire.
Okay. 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 The ash gotten
yes,
from.
yes.
Okay. The fire.
Yes. We use the wood
Fire
ash.
sticks or say firewood or what do you call
Firewood.
it? Firewood.
Yes.
After they finish setting the fire and
Yes.
cooking, you go and collect the ash.
The wood ash.
To do what?
That's what we use for the treatment.
Okay.
So we get wood ash and a warm water. You can also get mycorrhiza.
Okay.
Or we also have a different 3-in-1. The 3-in-1 is the coconut milk emulsifier.
Right.
That one contains N, P, and K.
Okay.
The nitrogen, phosphorus, and then the potassium.
Right.
And then the wood ash also contains potassium.
Okay.
Also helps, you know, it enhances the growth of roots. So when we apply the wood ash and all the chemicals, it also helps, you know, when it's in the soil. One, the coconut milk is a root enhancer. It helps the root to develop, like it goes far to
Deep
search for food. Yes.
into the soil.
Yes, to
Okay.
search for, let me say, nutrients. And then the potash, it also helps the plant, you know, to grow big.
Okay.
And then let me say the warm water also kills some microbacteria.
Okay. So by the time a cassava farmer
Yeah.
within the eastern region or in the Volta region reaches out to you
Yes.
to supply them with this stem, you would have taken it through all
the
this process
yes,
before
we
you
send
send
it
it over.
yes.
So when it gets to my farm, I don't need to do any
No,
treatment.
you don't need to do any treatment.
I just have to straight go
Yes,
and plant.
yes.
Is that correct?
It's correct.
Okay. So how many days do you do the treatment for? Is it just a day
Oh, it's
or
4
two?
days.
4 days.
4 days.
You leave it in the
Okay,
solution.
we prepare the solution.
Uh-huh.
The first stage, we use the warm water and then the wood ash.
Okay.
Then after 2 days,
Uh-huh.
2 days, we use the coconut milk. We make sure the coconut it dries on the plant
Right.
before we supply.
Okay.
It dries on the plant before we supply.
All right. So what is the average planting space in between the planting material? If I get to the farm.
With the planting space, the planting space depends on the farmer. One, we have 3 different species that you can use for cassava production.
Okay.
Depending on the size of tuber you want.
Okay.
For example, if you want to go into industrial production or maybe gari production, meaning you have to leave enough space for the plant, 1 meter square, so that the roots can be,
can form well, travel far.
Form big tubes.
Okay.
But if you want to use for
Cassava dough
or fufu production, fufu, with that one you close the gap.
Okay.
Let me see, you can use 1 meter by 90 centimeters.
Okay.
So by doing so, it increases the plant population.
Okay. Another question will be, if I'm using the normal local planting mat, which is the stem for cassava, and not yours, how many pieces of those would occupy 1 acre, just 1 acre? And if I'm using yours, how many pieces would fill 1 acre for me?
Okay, if you use the same planting distance, they can all you can get equal.
The same quantity.
The same quantity.
So I can use 50 pieces of the local, the untreated one, and I use the same 50 pieces.
Depend on the area.
So, I'm using 1 acre.
So as I'm saying, 1
yes.
acre. With 1 acre, you will need, if you are using, let's say, a planting distance of 1 meter square.
Yes.
You need 4,000 planting
material.
That one, there is no difference.
Okay.
It's either you are using the local one
or the treated one.
Ones.
Okay.
By the distance,
right.
1 meter.
Okay.
If you are using, let's say, 1 meter by 90 centimeters, you need 450.
Okay. So there's no difference when it comes to the quantity.
Yes.
But the difference has to do with the maturity.
The number of stages the difference is the number of stages that you will use to plant the local one.
Okay.
It will be lesser in terms of using hours.
Okay.
So if we are getting, let's say, 20 from a plant here, from a stick, maybe you will get 5. Or let me say 3.
Because this one is usually cut with, let's say, 4 or 5 nodes.
Which
so
one?
the local one.
Oh, some are even 15.
15?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Depending on the how, let me say, close the nose are.
Okay, I see. But this one, because you cut it into small, you get a lot.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so at this point, I've realized that we are going to demonstrate how to do the planting right behind us. Is that not correct?
Sure.
And I also realized that you added some poultry manure to the soil.
Yeah.
Why do that?
Okay, it's because the soil here is not rich. So we add the manure, decomposed manure, so that it will enhance the soil nutrient.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, viewers, you're still watching The Ghanaian Farmer. My name is Zenyonam, and this week we are all the way in Kedi in the Eastern region. We find ourselves in Isolet Agri Village, and the CEO does multiple things. He does a lot of things. Last week you saw us with Akokno. This week we are on cassava, but not just any regular cassava stem for your farm, especially if you're looking for disease-resistant planting material, you're looking for high yield, then you would have to look for them to supply you with the planting material. A lot of farmers are looking for it. So at this point, I'm going to let Nana take us through a few demonstrations before you do the planting. So Nana, what do we do from here? When I have my stick with me, I see some water and I see some mixture down there. What are we doing with it? When we come back, we would talk more about the stem you're holding.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So before
we start the planting
with the processing, we are now going to do the treatment.
We are now going to do the treatment.
So let planting yet.
Okay.
So we are now doing the treatment.
Okay.
So before the planting, you have to get your warm water. You have to get warm water.
Yes.
That's the first process.
Yeah.
Your warm water and then your wood ash.
Okay.
So you mix at least 5 cups of wood ash if you want to prepare 100 pieces of the nose.
The nose.
Yes.
Okay.
If you have to prepare 100 pieces. So you just add the ash to the warm water.
So you mix it.
Yes, you have to ensure that
You remove all the charcoal.
the charcoal. Not necessarily the charcoal, but then you have to make sure it's mixed well.
Okay.
But it should be warm, not hot water. Or else it can even kill the
plant.
The plants.
Okay. So please, it has to be warm, not hot that like you're going to kill chicken.
So it should be warm that you can even put your hand
inside,
inside
comfortably.
Yes.
All right, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. So when you're done with this,
Yeah.
you put the
stem.
loose in it.
Okay.
Yeah. So you leave it 15 minutes in the solution.
Okay. I'll leave it inside for 15 minutes.
But you stir it. Small time.
Whilst it's in there, you have to be stirring.
You have to be stirring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see. Why do we stir?
So that the solution, it can be uniformly mixed with the
the plant. Okay. All right, that's fine.
So after getting it this way, let's say after the 15 minutes,
yes,
you remove it and then put it at a cool place where the air can be passing through.
Where there's shade.
There's shade.
Okay.
You don't have to dry it with sun.
Oh, I see. All right. All right. Okay. Can you use a sack? Can you pour it on a sack?
No, if you pour it on the sack, the water will still remain on the
sack. So it has to be on the bare ground?
On the bare ground.
Oh, okay. I mean the water has to dry around it. Okay, that's fine.
So this is the first step. So if you don't have coconut milk, you can use sangozeb. Sangozeb is a fungi, a fungicide.
Okay.
They sell at the stores, the agrochemical shop.
Right.
You can use the sangozeb. You can use mangozeb as well for the treatment.
Okay.
So that's before you plant. After the 2 days, you have to put the fungicide on it. Now, when the fungicide, when it's on it and then you put it in the soil, it prevents fungal diseases
from attacking it.
Okay. When you apply the coconut milk, it also helps, the plant against Cassava mosaic virus.
Okay.
Yes. And sometimes we also apply neem. The neem.
The normal neem leaves.
Normal neem leaves. We blend it and then we mix it with the solution.
Okay.
Then we put it.
Okay.
By so doing, you see the neem and then the wood ash. It helps to prevent the Cassava mosaic virus. That one, it destroys a lot of tubers even at this time.
Okay.
So that makes our stems special or unique.
I know.
You understand?
Okay.
First of all, it's increasing yield. Instead of you getting 8 tons from an acre, you're going to get 12 to 15 tons from 1 acre.
All right. So you told me that you do nursery.
Yes.
Then you transplant.
Sometimes you.
Is it necessarily?
Oh, it's not necessary, but during the dry season, for example, if you want to plant a small area or a place to feed your pigs, or you don't want to short cassava. So whilst you have some on the field,
you have to be nursing another one.
Nurse some. So straight from the nursery, you plant it, you get the leaves, and then give to your
livestock.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So how long does your plant takes to mature? Okay.
As I said, the plants just after germination, it takes 4 to 6 months to maturity.
4 to 6 months.
Yes.
Okay.
So you have to start searching for your tubers after 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah. After 4 months, you see that it has started forming. You can even use some prepare food.
It's just averagely, how many tubers will I find under one?
It depends on your soil.
Okay.
If the soil is loose.
In your farm?
Okay, in my farm.
If you remove one, we'll go there for you to see.
The one we harvested, you are not even tall.
Yes. Hey.
Like, some was even taller than me 2 times.
Okay.
Yes. It depends on the way we prepare the soil. So the roots were able to travel far.
Okay.
So if the soil is too compact, you see that it wouldn't be able to form bigger tubers.
What do you use your tubers for? Is it for fufu, gari, starch?
Gari, starch making, a whole lot.
Is cassava farming profitable?
Very profitable. I would say nowadays cassava farming is very, very profitable.
What makes it now profitable compared
You
to
know,
then?
now a lot of people, or let me say a lot of investors are going into ethanol production. So they rather get the nose, let me say the planting materials and give to farmers. So they buy it straight from the let me say the field. So, but at first, you see that the farmers will carry their loads to the market before
The women will
bargaining
be
prices and
yes,
stuff.
yes.
But you know, negotiating with the companies, they know the price they are selling each acre.
So selling to companies is more profitable than dealing with market
Not
women.
even the profitable aspect, but getting ready market.
Okay.
So even if they are getting the same price from the market women, you see that if if let's say I was to harvest it from my farm, pick tricycle, bargain and stuff, the company will come in with their own car, buy it on the farm,
And
or
then
wait
take it away.
and take it away.
Okay. Selling tubers versus selling stem. Which one is more profitable?
Oh, to me, they are also selling stems to me.
The
Because
stem,
I don't produce tubers, I produce
trading the stem
trading the stems.
is more profitable
Yes, then
compared
someone
to.
else will also trade the tubers.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
You know, farming
How
is a
many
market
pieces of these short stems make one
acre.
this thing? Yes. How many pieces?
That's why I said that it depends on the planting distance.
You said
So
4,000 or so.
4,000.
Okay.
4,050.
In what sack do you package your stem before
We
delivery?
use the normal size 4. It's 100 kg.
100 kg.
Yes.
And it's going for how much? In case somebody will want to buy. It's
Oh,
going for how much?
We package it in 3,000 notes.
3,000 notes. For how much?
It's 700 cedis.
700
cedis.
cedis.
700 cedis.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you have a cassava farm and you're looking for stems to buy and you want to reach out to Nana, you should know that the notes are 3,000 pieces in size 4 bag.